benevolent beings who come into this live at any given point. If you're logging in live, then you come in on, I want to say it's Thursday, I think, January 8th, 2026. It's approximately in the afternoon, 12 in the afternoon-ish in the U.S. Central Standard Time. If you happen to be logging in at a later time and date, and like I said, you are an honorable, decent being, okay? These are my intros, okay? And it's because I'm putting a vibration out there. And I'm also signaling the energies that I am addressing and that I honor instead of the ones that are dishonorable. If you are a decent being, and I say that because if you are not familiar with me, if you're new to my channel, it's one of the reasons why I repeat it. Because you might not be a returning subscriber and viewer, so you haven't heard me, unlike the people who are rigorously following and viewing. So I say these things because, okay, look at the description box, look at the trillion videos and the links and all that good old stuff to get more in-depth information about me. But just to kind of give a synopsis of who I am outside of all the various different aspects at the core. I'm someone that I do not require you to agree with me in order for me to look at you as a being worthy and deserving of human decency, honor, and respect, the same as which I expect. I don't support hierarchy mentality, elitism, socialism. In other words, you can be of a higher class in all intents and purposes, the material world, or a lower class. For me, it's base zero for everybody, based on your decency or your lack of it. I don't require you check off on all the same check boxes that I do. So in other words, I don't require that you be spiritual. I don't require that you be into esotericism. I don't require that you be a neurodivergent. I don't require that you be of lower class, minority. I don't require that you be of upper class, majority. I don't require you to be of my ethnicity. I don't require for you to be of my gender. I don't require for you to physically look the way I feel. Beauty, handsomeness, goodness. I don't require any of those things, actually. We're all different. That's why I don't require it. We're all having our own version and form of an unfolding of this experience. And it's molded by all sorts of factors, whether we are fully able to accept that or not. I don't require for this reason. I don't know your life. You don't know mine. I don't know what has created you to be the you that you are when I meet you. I don't know if you've been abused in some kind of way that I can never fathom. I don't know if you was born and raised in the Partridge family and privilege. I don't know if you have some kind of a physical alteration of sorts that's not visible to the eye that determines your point of view in life. I don't know. For this reason, this is why I don't require. I stick to the basics. Decency has nothing at all to do with all of the aforementioned. If you're decent, you and I could be totally opposite, but you still have some code of ethics of your own, not societal, because societal's often is prejudice, flawed and hypocritical, biased. Code of ethics applies that you may hold in your heart space for all. If that's you, then I honor you. Even if at the end of the day, what I say, think, and believe, and what you say, think, and believe is totally opposite. But if we come to the base, neutral understanding, then I consider you an honorable being. This is why I honor all types of different forms. People get confused by me, and I know that, because again, when you feel like you're one-dimensional, this is why if you follow or subscribe and look at a lot of content, you're going to see me share stuff from various backgrounds: atheists, agnostics, Christians, spiritualists, neither. You're going to see me share intellectual things. You're going to see me share creative, artsy stuff. You're going to see me share stuff that's from the culture that I come from. You're going to see me share stuff that's from varied cultures and ethnicities and backgrounds. Because I understand that even if I don't agree with every single thing about who they are and what they do, I glean aspects and I still honor the being. Because if the being is decent, then it shouldn't matter to me. It shouldn't. If they have a base conduct of where they feel like all walks of life, and they believe it, and they're not just saying it for like a cute social media post. Because there's some people saying it, but they're saying it for the clicks, the likes, the shares, the follows, the subscribes, for the praise, the worship, the adoration, for the loosh. They don't mean it. They can care less. I see no content. Oh, you missing mama. Because mama had to take care of some business. You see the monsters? I know. I'm working on getting y'all out of here. When you mean it, you mean it. And this is not just for your business, for your storefront or your online. When you mean it, you mean it. It's not just for a Reiki circle or a prayer meeting. When you mean it, you mean it. And it's when it's inconvenient. It's when there's no loosh. I honor these beings because from my experience, it's not as common as we like to believe. I'm going to get into what they do. Bear with me. I'm going to get into the casual side of it because most of us, most of the time, we do lean into the more darker, the more ceremonial, you know, the things that they do when they're hiding in their caves. But I want to talk about what they're doing in plain sight. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's going to help folks to, for those of you that are TIs and you are trying to make sense of why certain, what shit is, it's gonna go click, which is half the battle won by itself. Because they can't keep you in that whole frazzled, you know how they do. That's what they, they get, that's their high, that's what they get off on. You'll see a narcissistic smirk on every last one of their faces, even if they don't know each other. Guarantee it, it's a signature. I cracked it. They all have it. Different cultures, different colors. It ain't about a color or a race or a gender. They all have it. You got to catch it. They have it, I guarantee you. Especially the more smug ones. The ones that are more collapsed may try to hide it, but the ones that are real arrogant and smug because they ain't got that ass handled all the way as of yet, and I said yet, that's why they have it. But it's an energy behind that. And I'm talking about that because it needs to be said. It's an energy. It is a parasite. It is an entity. It is a program. That's why they all share, because it's on a hive. Ah, Eureka. That's why they share it. People who don't know each other, no relations, no blood, all that, how is it that it's seen? Because now, to the decent beings, I honor you. To the TIs, I'll be sharing more cool tips, but this is not something I want to do private. If y'all want to know, it's the reason that I'm doing it that way too. They study the TIs constantly for more than one reason. They're trying to see what they know. They're trying to get in their energy. They're trying to eavesdrop on their conversations. They're trying to look at what they have on their person. What are they holding? Bitch, what they got? What are they holding? A crystal? What is that? What is that bottle? What is that bottle they have here? Because why isn't the exhaust spell working? Why isn't the hand signal and the exhaust spell out of the tailpipe working? Why isn't the cigarette smoke spell not working? So go eavesdrop to see what is it? What is that? What is it? What is it, so we can come up with a formula? What these cults, their leaders and their members do, whether they're members even, and sometimes there are members that are fully cognizant of what's happening and why they're doing it, and then there's members who aren't. They have levels, grades, and degrees. The lower base level members have absolutely no fucking clue. They're just trying to make some cash. They're just trying to survive. And they're just simply following orders like a performing monkey. but they do not have any clue as to the occult nature, occult practices of why they were asked to do what they did or to do what they're doing. They just know they're being asked to do a hand signal and cross the target and move their hand in a certain way. They're being asked to say a certain phrase, ask the target, are they okay? They're being asked to drive in a certain manner, kind of cutting off the target. They're being asked to sandwich the target. One of you low lives come from one direction and the other low life the next, to try to intimidate them to see what they'll do or say. They're not told. They're just asked to stand on this corner and smoke your cigarette. Just so happen as the target is on the asset. I got him, I saw that. I'll pay for that too. The target, the asset is on the move. Did you hear what I said? I spoke with someone earlier this morning and I was actually feeling, I was in my more bolder energy today. I didn't really care. You get to this point where you're like, this is just gonna be fun all the way to the end, bitch. So, cause I left early, 12:22, as I saw it, shook up my little routine. And this is the stuff that you all may experience. This is why I'm sharing it in this video, as I said, what these cults do and their members' casual, everyday life. This falls under that category. So, depending on the environments that the activity is happening, if it's dwelling space, then they're casting spells all night and they're rotating who's doing it, but they're casting. They're also interfering with any technology that you may be utilizing for frequencies, if they can access it. If it's dwellings, near dwellings, then they have a system of schedule which they get up to start the noise making aspect with the spell work to make sure that the target wakes up to immediate distraction and disarray, and a combination of the occult ritual abuse that they have been doing all night. And as they get up, that they're dealing with that as to what? Prevent them from having clear thought. Prevent them from being able to focus on the things in which they need to focus on, to keep them in the energy of, you gotta wake up and deal with the trash bags immediately. So as to keep them constantly in this energy of trying to get their capacities together, rid off whatever weird shit it is so that they can think properly. If the target has children or people that they care for, take care of, then they get them activated to be an added bonus of distraction so that the target, what? Don't come for that ass. And what do I mean by that? In the way that's gonna hurt. And what do I mean by that? In the way that's gonna fuck up the whole shit. In a way that's going to liberate the target and their family. Essentially to get away from, because code, what does the code have a problem with? They have a problem with loss. They have a problem with losing. That's why they are a cult. So This is what the rest of the world will not have privy to, because these are everyday life, behind the scene, casual activities. Electronic weaponry, frequency weaponry, sirens in a neighborhood that barely ever have sirens, all of a sudden it's the ghetto. If the target manages to get ahead of it and push through it, i.e. getting up before the devil, or as the devil is playing in your head with their spell word, and says, all right, let's shake the game. Let me go do what I have to do. If the target happens to do that, then they have to send a hive message out to all those that are a part of the Fusion Center program. And all other cult members. The asset is on the move. The target is on the move. So you'll see, if you do that, you're going to see more walkers than you usually do. It may take a while because depending on how early it is, they got to get people to get the boogers out their eyes and get their whole ass up. So that they can come follow you as scheduled. Similar as someone crossed my path as I was leaving today. I really didn't care whether or not if it was an op, if it was a cop, if it was a code member, if it was a legit investigator. I didn't care. But I was going to make my statement and make something known and clear in my own way. And as he crossed me, I looked at his shirt. His shirt says assets, something about guarding assets over liabilities. I smiled. And I actually crossed him and I actually said words to him. I said, well, it's not like I stopped. I just said, if only people actually did value true assets versus trash. And kept walking. I said that because I told myself if this was somebody on my side or somebody that was neutral, he was going to know why I said that. And if it was somebody that's a part of this cult and these ops, then he's going to get a message sent to them that I know. Casual life. So they prefer the targets be without vehicles. So when the targets have vehicles, they usually try very hard to sabotage the vehicle. Whether that be constant problems if they happen to have a vehicle, then they try to manufacture car accidents, mechanical issues, if they own the vehicle. If the target doesn't own the vehicle, then they'll try to create an issue to where they can't handle. I see you punching. They can't pay it so that it gets repoed. Because it's an easier thing to do visual if somebody is walking than it is if they're in a car. You can keep an eye on the car color and license plate and, you know, things like that, but it's easier to have someone walking. That's why they really attempt to fuck with the transportation. because that way, if they do anything, you can keep a visual on them. And with that, then, as I said, they've cued the Fusion Center employees and all other code members in the vicinity, the area in which the asset, the target, is moving around. So they follow them, they have footmen, and those are in vehicles. And you might say, so it's just following. You're just telling us that they follow and stalk. Wait for it. That's not all they're doing, dear. They're utilizing all of the elements. To do occult spell work in the form of everyday life stuff. I'll give you a list. So let's say the code members in a vehicle. If they don't have like a major engine that exhausts smoke, if that's not the type of vehicle that they have that could emit that, then if the code member, the driver, or whoever else is in the vehicle, if they're a smoker, then they're going to be utilizing this element of smoke spell work, and that is to compromise the brain. The spell infused is about the spell that is infused. It's not just about the smoke and being rude. It's the spell that's in the toxins, okay? Because yes, some of it is toxins, but I mean, that's natural for anybody who would be in the vicinity of it. So it's not just about the toxins of the smoke in itself, whether that's the cigarette or what's coming out of an exhaust pipe. It's the spell that is designed for the target to compromise their neuro via breath, inhalation, and also their auric field. The target's auric field via their breath, because it's a spell specifically for them. To compromise their intelligence, to hopefully activate the freeze response, to compromise their ability to think clear and focus. So they'll send many, especially when they're nervous and scared. When they feel like the target is getting away, or they're making leeway, or they're thinking too clearly, or they're not exhibiting the same traits, they're not exhibiting nervousness or fear, they're not exhibiting wild and out, so that they can still continue to look like somebody who is unstable. They're not exhibiting they're making contacts. Listen, they're in your phone. Here's another thing that they do. They're tapping your devices illegally, and iPhones are no exception. There are people who think an iPhone is an exception. No, it's not. Government level grade access could get into that. So it's not exempt. The security is tighter, absolutely. I will agree with that. It's certainly tighter than standard PCs or Androids. But that doesn't apply when you're talking about something on this level. Anything can be hacked. Case in point, they may do something like this. Let's say you as the target. You seek out some information as you're out and about, but you're standing up, and you're not in a position where you grab a pen and paper and you're talking to someone on the phone. You put them on a speaker, and then what does most of us do now? Age of technology. You go onto your phone, you open up a notepad. That's standard. You open up a notepad and you type in the information there, and it saves there, and you go back to it later. So what they will do is, in some cases, they're going to possibly wait till you're sleeping to do that, because if they do this while you're awake and you're still messing with your phone, you may go there and discover that it's gone, and it'll be too easily and readily recognized. They're hoping that by way of you going to sleep, and when you try to later go back to it, that you think that you accidentally erased it or deleted it. When they begin to get nervous that you're getting some leeway and getting options outside of the options that they want for you, when they start to feel like you're gonna be able to get out of the situation that they thought that they were gonna bury you in, then they start to amp up the things that they've been doing, because they've been doing these casual things, in part to crazy make the target feel like they're losing their mind. They're not losing their mind. People are in their technology and in their devices every day. Including their surveillance technology. They tap into the target's surveillance technology. Oh, bet ain't nobody expected me to say that. Because remember, internet. The surveillance is supposed to be meant for a security measure for the target to feel some kind of way about when, they're not there, though there's nothing really all that secure. If you got hackers and techies and authorities, they can just shut the shit down and blink it, and you wouldn't know the otherwise. But that's not the only thing that I'm talking about. That's one thing that could be exploited, because if you got that kind of power, then you can do that. A standard everyday Joe Schmo might not have that access, so they might not be able to just shut down your internet to temporarily shut down your security, bitch. But that's not all. They also use it to illegally surveil through your own surveil. If they can tap into your device and technology, that means they can use your own shit to be nosy. Oh, I patterned it, caught them in a few things. That's a good thing about being a neurodivergent for sure, I'll tell you what. Everyday casual life. The rest of the world and the population you have to consider that these are things that are playing out, just like when you go to a movie. When you go to a movie, we're getting the backdrop and we get to see the behind the scene, because we're like a third party observer seeing all angles of what's happening in a situation in a movie. But in real life, you don't get to see that. You only see the observable, visible things that's available for you too. These societies and groups know that. So that when the target attempts to start speaking of things, they This is why they do spells to make them wild out. This is why they do spells to make them do, because they want the people that are hearing the information to look at them as if they're a quack. Whack job. Everyday casual things. So these are including tapping into devices, removing items, playing with the phone, glitching it out, cutting it on when the collective cut it off, shutting off technology if they're using technology to listen to frequencies at night so that they can creep in and sneak in when they're sleeping and hopefully get a few of them nasty spells to stick. Constantly. All day, every day. When stuff starts to work less and less, this is when you're going to see an increase of activity in casual, everyday shit. More people seeming to just so happen to try to force their way in the auric field of the target. And they'll try to chant something, even if it's mumbled under their voice, to where it's not heard clearly. They will do this in the form of other languages so that the target is not suspecting, because if it's of another language even, then the target, you know, in the earlier stages will just simply think somebody is talking their language, or they're just talking to somebody on the phone. So they'll have people planted into the auric field, just so happen, like they're about to go to a store or the bus or whatever, and they'll have them hold a phone or act like they're on the phone talking to somebody, but they're doing a spell. Even if the person don't know that's what it is, if they're told to do that, then it's still a spell. So they get into their biofield and they're saying some words, even if it's under their voice. That's an attempt, again, element of air. In this case, it's just an attempt to alter, once again, the intelligence, okay, in a different way than the chemical stuff, but it's still the same thing. To alter, to curse the person, to alter their perception, to smoke and mirrors. Everyday life. And no one, I'm sharing this because when you're looking at it, the visuals that you're gonna be seeing are nothing more than everyday casual life occurrences. People talk on their phone. People drive their vehicles. Exhaust come out of tailpipes. People smoke cigarettes. People have to go to the store. The TI is not the only one that goes to Walmart or goes to Kroger or goes to wherever the places in which they go. So it looks like it's everyday occurrence. Other people have to go to the United States Post Office. At the same time as the collective. Every day, casual occurrence. Somebody moved their hand in a certain way. The world doesn't know about, the masters of the cult, even if they're distorted, okay, because the cult, the occult, not cult, occult, okay, is a difference. I need to differentiate that. Now, a lot of occult practices are cult in nature, okay, but I need to say that it's not bad. I need to make it clear. In and of itself, occult practice, it's the fact that they turn it into cults and they begin to exploit it. That's what gets it in this other side. Again, using all of the elements. Most of the world is not going to know anything about geometry and the usages of geometry in ritual work. Geometry could be in the form of hand signals. Most of us in the world are not privy to the psychological subconscious stuff. The military knows about it, okay? Higher level government know about it for sure. But because of, you know, the traumas that we have had, as well as the things that have been implanted and embedded into our minds and our subconscious when we're asleep. And buzz phrases and words that will trigger a traumatic response or some kind of action that they want the target to take, or whatever it is that they're trying to alter about the target. But to us, the world is going to look like standard occurrence, standard casual life. Nobody's going to be thinking that ain't got shit to do with no damn spell. Somebody's saying, how are you, or are you okay? That sounds like regular standard life greetings. And it sounds like somebody is even being kind and considerate even. Nobody's thinking that maybe there's some intention behind the vibration of a certain phrase. No one is thinking this because most don't know nothing about it. And they wouldn't believe it. It's the whole point. To alter someone without looking like you're trying to alter someone. So they amp it up to follow it. If they're getting nervous, they really have to pile on. The target is left as the central station. We need more spellcasters to follow them around as they go into Ross. We need more spellcasters as they go to Starbucks to go buy a cup of coffee and circle it around. We need more footmen. Get into their biofield with some cigs. Get that smoke in their biofield here. Get that tailpipe revved up, that exhaust. We need more distractors. Where are the paid actors? Where's our street theater? Keep them distracted. They too focused, bitch. Where's the noise? We need them uncomfortable. Cue motherfuckers. They sitting out there by themselves too. They getting shit done, bitch. We perceive and tapped into the device, bitch. They done got some information, bitch, that actually might serve as useful. That takes away our leverage and power and control, making this person feel like they don't have any other options. Cue the nigga. What they don't know is that the target, you all at some point, especially as you start to get used to it, your eyes, it's almost like fucking, I don't know what to call it. Because your peripheral is active when even you're not even trying. So you see motherfuckers lingering there by the car pulling up. Because, I mean, it gets obvious at some point. Some stuff do just start to get obvious, bitch. You be like, da, da, da. On cue, bitch, here they go. And then some of them, since they be getting stupid and sloppy, they forget that they got repeats and shit, and that y'all got pattern recognition. Like, oh, that's the hoe that was sitting in the car. I called 5 times sitting in the car in front of the apartment. That's the bitch that was in that gray-looking motherfucker, that grayish, bluish-looking motherfucker. That hoe right there that had the audacity to look at me with derision. That's the same bitchy bitch in Starbucks. But only as you proceed and continue to evolve, then it's more like, okay, well, we can't get them into reactive abuse, or we can't get them to do some kind of, oh, all right. We need some more distractors then. Send in a dude. You know, they play with it. Send in a dude. Just go sit right there, boom, bitch. That you already know was watching you, and I was just sitting in there, and then all of a sudden, like they'll do that, and it's supposed to bother you, make you uncomfortable. But when they start to see that it's no longer holding that makes them nervous. Because, see, a part of the whole thing about the practice, when you're using it in a distorted kind of way, the whole thing about it is the base of you needing to be fearful. Fear, anxiety, uncomfortable. For whatever reason, it feeds possibly the entities that they're devotees to, or it feeds the spell. So when they see that you're overcoming, they go, okay, we gotta, So bring it, oh boy, oh girl, go on over there, sit down there. You can sit there, bitch. Let's see if they get up and leave. You know, then they're still uncomfortable. So if you go over there, motherfucker, and if they immediately get up, it's because they're still in that vibe. If they just sit there, continue on, we may have a little concern. So go ahead and sit there. And observe what they're doing, okay? But don't make it seem like, try not to, because if they see that you're up there nosing around, okay, so try to like act like you studying and shit. Try to act like you out there, you know, doing the same shit. And whoa, like you fill out some proper, you know, some application. And take note of what they have, because maybe something that they have on them is why all the exhaust smoke that we put around them today, all of the cigarette smoke that we put around them today, all of the incants we put around them today, as they walked about unknowingly, because we're doing this in a sneaky kind of way. We're having randos say shit. We having the sorcerers of sorcerers / meth heads doing mind control, mental magic. It's not having the same effect. We're only picking up like they may have a blink of a feel, and then it's like it's wiped off. Why is it wiped off? Why does it seem that it sticks for 2 minutes and dissipates? What is that? Why is that? What's happening? Because normally this will be a whole, it'll be sticking for a whole 3 days. Why is it dissipating? But these are everyday occurrences. Casual life. This is not the stuff we see on TV when you see them in these dark caves and with these masks on and performing these rituals. They do those things, but that is the more concentrated form. They're doing that as well. The ceremonial ritual abuse. They're doing that as well. That's the behind the scenes stuff. That's where they have on the hoods one Naji Ramba, Naji. You know, that's behind the, yeah. But they need, especially as the target begins to evolve past a lot of stuff and begins to, you know, then they need more footmen. They need more casual. They need more. They always had it, but they adjust per the growth of the TI. And when they start suspecting that they're getting free or seeing something clearly, they have to even bring out the big wigs. It's oftentimes the big wigs come out in this case. They'll be the ones that's in the fancy cars. Not the ghetto fabulous type. Them be the ones in, you know, real old money. You know what I'm saying? Old money. Yeah, they be looking like, you know. Because they're like, shit, let me bring my ass. They be like, shit, I need to bring my ass. And what the fuck is going on here? Let me, shit. Let me do my incant, motherfucker. Because I'm sending the newbies. Let me bring my ass outside, bitch. Because and if the target, now here's what I'm trying to convey. The complications, you know, people who might care for these targets and they have a lot of questions. The complications for the target is that everything that I just said. It's everyday casual life that does not look like anything is wrong with it. So every time they try, and they learn this through pattern recognition too, because every time they try, even if people are well-meaning, they get all these things that's just not helpful. So they end up suffering because people don't have the capacity to think past their own way of thinking. They don't have the capacity to see that somebody can be in danger. There's no room for focus groups, and there's no room for pep talks and hoorah and all that stuff. It's like, no, you don't know that this is the thing. You might even be under something, but this is happening and it's not okay. They're trying to compromise the health and well-being, the capacity of the target, so that they can't make proper informed decisions that serves them honorably, not based in fear and scarcity. They're trying to alter their health. Those things are not okay, but it's insidious because of the casual nature. They're hiding the other shit from, their serious shit that make you vomit, because they're doing that. It'll make you wish that they didn't have a head on their body. I'll put it in those words. Because of what they chose to do with the head on their body. The sickness that's going on up there swarming about. Ignorance is at the core. Even with this supreme intelligence, there's a level of ignorance that is at the core of it. On the side where this has to do with Star Seed type of energy and knowledge that government and higher ups and certain ones, I don't focus on that because the world is not ready. For the truth anyway. But it's ignorance. They drive on the ignorance, and this is how they rally and get people to be willing to do some sick, perverse shit. Oh, they're an alien. Not knowing that we all are in some way, I'm not gonna go there yet. Oops. Oh, they're an alien. And yeah. So this is serving the good, killing them, okay? Can't catch a real killer. Can't catch a real threat. Motherfucker, they paid them to, and then they ain't getting paid to do it, bitch. Can't catch a real threat. Motherfucker finna go do some shit. They couldn't stop the child. Let me get off of that. I'm just saying. No, I am not anti. Oh, look at the people out here, man. I'm going to make this crystal clear over and over. I'm not anti anything except for I am anti-toxic, cruel, inhumane, prejudiced, ignorant, and biased behavior on innocent life that did not deserve mistreatment. That is what I'm anti. I am anti-exploitation of power. Yes, I am. I am anti-nepotism. Yes, I am. I am anti-prejudice and bias when it starts to lean into violating innocent life and other people due to it. Yes, I am. But stop this trying to hide things under accusing folks of being anti-American and anti-government and anti-conspiracy theorist and all these things to cover up and hide abuse. I'm not even anti-Christian, not in the way people think I am. Not in the way they think. I'm going to say it again. I am anti anything, any being, any system that's tyrant in nature and abusive in nature, intrusive in nature. Disrespectful and insensitive. I'm certainly anti-hypocrisy, for sure. So in other words, people that's got a stern hand that they trash. Have a judgy finger, but they have all the skeletons in all their closets, but they have a judgy finger. I'm anti that for sure. I'm anti-bully. But I'm anti-bully. I spoke to someone who thought they were anti-bully. Well, let me show you what an anti-bully is. See, I'm anti-bully, casual, everyday life, coercive control, covert abuse. Not just the stuff that you can see somebody is knocking somebody across the playground. I'm anti-spiritual abuse, religious abuse, occult abuse on life that don't even know nothing about it. People out here just thinking they sick. They're just thinking they got a bad luck and they just sick and coming up with shit. No, they ain't. People out here just thinking they're itching and got sensations. Yeah, some stuff is just an itch and some stuff is just a sensation and some stuff is parasites from food. And yeah, I am educated. Yes, I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware of this. Some stuff is whole bags and niggas. Of all creeds, cultures, and backgrounds, ages, and degrees. Planning your goddamn energy and ain't got no fucking business doing it. Random trash. Everyday occurrence, casual everyday life. Seem like just a piece of trash, huh? A random object, inanimate object. Because it's not about the object, it's about the spell using the elements. Iron, wood, steel, dirt, earth, water, fire, air, sound, ethers. What does that comprise of? You got 5 points, huh? And what does that make? What can it make? It's about utilizing demographic, longitude, latitude, key points from a geographical standpoint as well as energetic. I hear somebody say, I heard two things. One thing I heard a moment ago, now I'm hearing something else. A moment ago, maybe 5 minutes, heard someone say, I don't know who, why, where, but I heard it, I heard it. We need to leave that lady alone. Just now, I heard, how does she know this? If we would all simply just expand, there's just some stuff that's out of all of our scope. We're never going to have all the answers. But there's a strong possibility. Maybe there's otherworldly energy on top of knowing those occult practices and beyond. And when there's grave injustices to an honorable being, and that honorable being has done maybe a significant amount of work, and that honorable being evoked it because of the 24/7 treasonous behaviors and activities on them and their children, the barricading and entrapment, they may pull a matrix move on them. Neo didn't have 15 years to go through the school of all things they need to know, motherfucker. because they made sure his life was good and fucked up and zombied out to the to his ass. You know what I'm saying? Can never get it, bitch. So he had to get the upgrade version. He had to get the fast version. It's like, man, we got to get you out the way. We don't have time for this. We're just going, because, It'll take forever, bitch. Nope. This shit'll take forever. And it's too many old doors. It's too, These motherfuckers been doing shit on them since they were kids. And now they got some new recruits. And, Everyday casual life. So if you even were to pass by as an onlooker, you're not going to see any, did you hear me? You're not going to see any unusual behavior, anything that's going to evoke an alarm. Because all you're going to see is what seems to be a random homeless person, a random street person, somebody just walking their dog. You know, you're not going to see. Even if you wanted to just sit back and say, well, let me go check it out. You're not going to see. Because they don't want you to see. The gist of what the smaller stuff and the real gross stuff is in their little secret spots. They caves are inside their apartments around the target. They're doing shit as I speak. This is daily though. This is nothing new. They have spells on the grounds of wherever the target is as a means of spelling on them as they are navigating a land. That's another thing that they do. So when the asset gets up to go outside, there's a spell that's been placed possibly already at their front door by the witches, wizards, and warlocks that they have surrounding them. If the target has to utilize these services that are for these shut-ins and people who don't have means to do things, so then they tap into these seemingly casual events. Walmart shopping cart is a very popular one. They seek to steal from them that way with their card, the card information, but outside of the financial side of it, they have certain shoppers going so they're spelling on their items, if not fully tampering with them. In some cases, if the spells don't seem to work that they're putting on these shopping items as they deliver them, then they start to add ways in which they can tamper. Is it a way you can put something in the bag? Can you open up the bread? Can you do, can you open up the bottle and maybe they're not gonna know. Can you put a needle through the water bottles, or the top of the thing, bitch? Is there a way so that it looks like if the collective gets sick and have something, they want something to look like just a tragic misfortune versus what it was, premeditated murder. What it was, premeditated harm to get the person incapacitated in a hospital, in jail, unable to govern their lives so that they can gain governorship, leading to, for money, for energy, and leading to the ultimate jackpot, the targets being unalivened. via their manufactured tragedy. Because if you look visually, there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary happening. Unless you're paying close enough attention, that is. And most folks, with all due respect, even those that are supposed to be trained, they ain't getting it. Because what they see, they don't see nothing. To me, I laugh because I'm like, why would you need to? Maybe I should have been a fucking detective. Maybe my ass should have been some fucking. Because to me, I'm like, shit, ain't nobody stupid. Ain't nobody stupid. I know people don't want shit to look obvious, so I'm going to already be looking past some shit on GP. On GP. I'm already finna be nosy and shit on some other level. Because I'm like, yeah, people slick. When you're dealing with a criminal enterprise, they not stupid. They ain't stupid. They ain't finna be on plain sight, your ass. Come on. Nobody's stupid. Anywho, let me go ahead and end this. I've been here an hour and 10, 12 minutes, and I need to get going. I got to clear up my energy, clear up my son's energy, and continue with the rest of the scheduled task for the yay. Everyday occurrence, casual activity. You'll get, oh, we need to do a routine check. Yeah, so they can come cast a spell. And so that they can see what spell is working. And then so they can go and report and say, they look this way. What's fascinating is sometimes what they're seeing is somebody that's dealing with frequency fatigue. But it doesn't really matter. There is a thing, healing crises, frequency fatigue. If a person is maxing out because of what they're going through, because people are piling on them, they could be doing a whole lot of extra, which can give them a fatigue. And they have to balance it out. Earlier, when I was out and about, I heard one of their cult members say, we're gonna burn her brain out. We're gonna fry her brain, or cause her to burn her brain out, or fry something to that effect. I heard them say it. I laughed. And then I did a spell. I sure did. And I'll be doing some later. Because the abuse is just what they said. It is to create adrenal fatigue. And because most of us in the world, we don't know nothing about all that stuff. We don't know none of that. What abuse does, and then why abusive cultures or groups do the things in which they're doing. Psychological warfare is no less than narcissistic abuse attempting to break down the brain and the mind of a person. And if you're trying to break down the brain of the mind of a person, you're trying to unaliven them. You're trying to take away proper quality of life from them. They gonna wish they didn't do this. Some already do wish they didn't. But some pride and ego, and the fact they've been doing this since 1,000 years, in their greed, entitlement, is gonna kill them. their own brains, people's minds. These cults in real time are being affected in a not so good way. Because they're trying to affect the targets and the target's children. Every moment of every day. It's in plain sight, disguised as philanthropists, world leaders, it's in plain sight, disguised as ex-cons, junkies, church folk. It's in plain sight, disguised in the youth who are easily controlled and manipulated. All you have to do is dangle something sparkly in front of their face. It's in plain sight. Open your eyes.